welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez. Hope you guys had an amazing Thursday night, football night. It's an amazing match. So happening right now. I can't wait to, watching it on my phone right now. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not watching it on my phone completely 1,010%. My focus is all about talking about professional wrestling. Definitely don't, don't you guys think that, keep tabs on other sports like baseball, basketball, football, hockey, maybe soccer. I wish I was more into soccer. I got to be honest. I know, around the country, because I feel like America ultimately kind of like disregards like like soccer, but around the world, soccer is actually taken a little more seriously than the rest of the sports. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive on into this to this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a lot for you today on tap. We're going to talk about WWE NXT. We're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. We're also going to talk about my Thursday night wrestling previewing of Honor TNA. We're also going to talk about Roxanne Perez being the future of basically, being the future of WWE, WWE NXT. And, with all that, comes with being said. And it's, it's going to be amazing. So, guys, do not go anywhere. But of course, before we dive on into anything like that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat, that super thanks. Tell me what you like to me, what you don't like. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. If it makes, major wrestling news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show. So don't be shy. Talk about it 1,010% here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. Just remember to Superman punch that. Like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. So yeah, don't be afraid to send in those super chats. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some WWE NXT. First and foremost, it was held at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, obviously the home of ECW. Does this necessarily mean that NXT is going to, or WWE for that matter, annually kind of host these shows into being, kind of a top prospect, kind of, to have all your young wrestlers trying to be like, hey, like I can be that next ECW star, like Rob Van Dam, Bully Ray, Sabu. Sabu was really, really big in ECW, sorry, excuse me. So it's I feel like I feel like this PLE of NXT, which is exactly what it was. You had Jaida Parker, you had Lola Vice, you also had a lot of main star superstars that had a chance to kind of be something bigger than it actually was. Then you had the breath of nostalgia with all these ECW legends, coming around the corner. But I thought overall it was good for NXT. I thought it was good for the CW. It's good for their viewers. Obviously, you saw ECW kind of falter during the invasion era of WWF. Back in 2001, where you had, where you kind of forced them to team up with WCW and ECW. And it just wasn't necessarily like, a pat on the back. You'd be like, oh, those ECW stars, you guys did so good. It was so amazing. Your brand was so amazing. No, they were brought into WWE and they were kind of buried. And that kind of, that kind of sucks. But, I don't know. Overall, I feel like it was a good, it's a nice presence for WWE to kind of ultimately, kind of go back to their roots in terms of ECW. All right, we had Jaida Parker defeating Lola Vice in a hardcore bout. You didn't really see anything from Dawn Marie. And by all means, and I don't want to try to get back into, the way WWE back in the day was with sexism and exploiting women. Um, but, she was just, she called it down the middle. She was a referee. But of course, back in the time where she made it from ECW to WWE, they're like, hey, if, you got to try to, show a little bit of more, sex appeal, try to get into the storyline a little bit. Tori Wilson, I think they made out on live TV. I'm not too sure. Uh, Also, she had an affair with Tori Wilson's father, obviously kayfabe. So, just kind of have her go out there and just be like a referee. Like, I get it. I understand why you kind of did it because back when she was kind of doing her thing in WWE, it was kind of like a big no-no. So, obviously, I understand why they kind of put her in the spot where she was as the special guest referee for Lola Vice and Jaida Parker in that hardcore bout. Next, we have Wesley taking on JeVon Evans. This match was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. Can't really complain about it. RVD with the assist. Wesley has gone full heel. I thought JeVon Evans was actually heading toward a heel myself, but I was wrong, which I'm kind of happy that I was. I hated it. I would have hated him going into a heel position on WWE NXT. I thought it'd be stupid. I ultimately think the fans love him for him being kind of like that homegrown WWE fan that made it big, that, accomplished everything. He's like that Cinderella story that people latch onto. Like, what I mean, they'd latch onto that. Like, you go to college, you're working, and then of course you always have that big dream that this is gonna happen. And obviously I feel this is the main reason why I feel like JeVon Evans belongs in the place he is right now. I would absolutely love him to, find a championship spot, taking on Tony D'Angelo for that NXT North American Championship. I feel like that'd be good, kind of, developing into, a nice little. Well, obviously, you have the FBI coming in with Nunzi. Obviously, we're going to talk about it later. But, you have the Italian, you have the family, in terms of, if you've ever watched any movie in the 1980s or early 1990s, you had this, like, you had those Italian movies like The Sopranos, like those Martin Scorsese movies where the families actually go against the families and, just to achieve greatness, just to achieve a chance at that you're the head of the table kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of like like a bootleg version of the bloodline of Roman Reigns, obviously, of the Mayavias, the Usos, the Fatus. And it just I got what they were trying to do, but honestly, I didn't really feel like it perpetuated in a way that fans could necessarily kind of wrap their heads around. But overall, I understood what they were doing. I understood what they were doing. I got it. So Wesley lost thanks to RVD. Lee attacked RVD at the end of the bout. We had Williams teaming up with Bubba Ray Dudley against Paige and Rich Holland. You saw D'Von Dudley. Oh my God, I was so happy that he saw D'Von Dudley. I knew that he was going to make it into the bout. I knew that he was going to, make his name because I feel like Bubba Ray Dudley, and as you can tell from the outmat from the damn it, from the results of this match, that Bubba Ray Dudley, he hosts a podcast, the Busted Open podcast, and he's like, you know what? Sometimes you got to put other superstars over than you. You saw Ethan Page and Rich Holland become the victor, and it was honestly, it was right. It was right. The only thing that I kind of objected against, you got Ethan Page. He looks weak. He looks really, really weak. He looks like he can't maintain the storyline. Looks like he can't maintain the championship bout. He can't even maintain, a match. And, you kind of had him going from NXT World Champion to a complete goofball. So that's something WWE has to definitely fix, or you should bring him into the main roster like Raw or SmackDown. That's obviously that's my opinion, 1,010%. Then of course you saw Rhino. Rhino wasn't necessarily, he wasn't introduced as Rhino. He was, Rhino, the Gore Master, Gore Mr. Stone, which is absolutely awful, terrible. I mean, North American Championship match, you saw Tony D'Angelo take on and defeat, Nunzio. In the 5-woman tag team match, you saw Zarya pin the NXT World Champion, Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. And, obviously a lot of people are speculating what's exactly, with the prodigy. What's going on with the prodigy? Is she really the prodigy? Don't really know, too much. Lash Legend and Julia Vaquer. Well, Lash Legend and Miss Jackson are showing some heavy bouts against Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. Obviously, doing future storylines toward the future of NXT. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We're gonna jump on into some AEW Dynamite. So hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, we are back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you with the GSMC Sports Network. Let's go ahead and jump on into our second segment. We got our AEW Dynamite review. Obviously, from the beginning of Dynamite, you saw the Hurt Syndicate opened up the show, which was fitting because you're trying to get a lot of these superstars that MVPs bring it in. Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. I feel like they do need one more critical piece. But, obviously MVP said, if I hand you that card, guess what, guys, you better take it. Or like Swerve Strickland, if you're trying to push against it, it's not going to end well. So from the beginning of the promo, you saw MVP kick Tony Schiavone outside of the ring. He announced Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, and he was saying that they're here to enrich the younger talents in terms of AEW, CMLL, New Japan Professional Wrestling, and Stardom. They want to promote those younger talents. And once again, if you accept the card, you accept change that's going to be better for you. If you decline, then basically you're going to become like Swerve Strickland. Swerve came out immediately, which was kind of funny because you saw that, I heard that fan from AEW Dynamite once when they were talking, it was like, who's house? And then all of a sudden they're like, who? And then the music played. I thought that was actually pretty badass. I definitely like that spot that, the fan called it. The fan knew that when Swerve Strickland was going to come in. The only thing that kind of bothered me, though, I gotta be honest, is that it wasn't really made such a big deal. Like, I gotta be honest, when Swerve Strickland was like, Bobby Lashley, full gear. Like, what I mean? I like, dude, okay, that's cool. Like, I get it, that's cool. But at the same time, the fans are kind of like, what I mean? Like, I felt like they didn't really know how to respond. I felt like they were kind of like lost or like, "Woo, yeah," like, what I mean? It wasn't much of a projection as it was to, a reaction. But I felt like a match like this, Bobby Lashley taking on Swerve Strickland, the fans in the crowd should have been absolutely freaking bonkers. But it did not wind up that way, which is kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was kind of like, really, really, that kind of sucks. But overall, Swerve Strickland, challenges Bobby Lashley for a match at Full Gear. Orange Cassidy teams up with Darby Allin, taking on Claudio Castagnoli and the Bastard Pack of the Death Riders. I think Death Riders, right? Darby Allin's entrance was pretty badass. Orange Cassidy was able to kind of reel them in, Pack and Claudio. And of course, from the top of the stage, you saw, obviously it wasn't, the hook coming down from the Raptors. It was Darby Allin coming out with a splash from the entrance boards, and he killed it. I thought it was pretty badass. And that Darby Allin spot where, you saw Claudio Castagnoli pick him up, had him in that military press, and threw him toward that top ring, to turnbuckle or the post, and it's, oh my god, it looks so bad. Oh my god. That's something that fans actually do love 1,000 to 10% in terms of professional wrestling. Obviously, I can't really shy away from it too much because I'm like, dude, I thought that was actually pretty cool. But and then after the match, it ended in no contest, which sucked. Orange Cassidy got mugged at the end of the day. You saw Wheeler Yuta come out and attack Darby Allin, brought out his skateboard. The conglomeration came out at the end of the day to save Cassidy. And you saw John Moxley ended the threaders, kind of run out of the ring, and you saw that was that. Ricochet in the back was approached by the Hurt Syndicate. Obviously, he was approached earlier, kind of talking about, hey, dude, you could be a part of this if you really, really want to. And that's just something that it's hard for Ricochet. It's hard for him to be like, oh, I came from somebody from WWE, came from nothing really to something. WWE didn't really, handle his character all that well. So this is what he's going to do. This is what he has to do. And, I feel like him, associating himself with this Her Syndicate is going to be amazing for, AEW, Tony Khan's promotions. It's going to be good for their TV ratings. So I feel like this should be something that comes in fruition. But that's just my opinion. Next, we saw a fight without honor match. The conglomeration defeat the Learning Tree, and Jericho was pinned. I love Chris Jericho. Obviously, I'm a WWE guy, but he looks so out of shape. He just looks so done with it. I hated that he defeated Mark Briscoe for that Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship because you had so many other viable options, so many possible options that could have been so much better. I would have took Roderick Strong over the leader of the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho. I would have took Roderick Strong. I would have took back in, I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago, Kyle Fletcher for the Death Before Dishonor. I think that's what it was. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But I was like, dude, like instead you let him lose it against Chris Jericho. Like I get that Chris Jericho was kind of like a walking, breathing you know, promo machine. Like, I get it. Like, I understand. But when he's inside the squared circle, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't look right. I feel like Mark Briscoe was, obviously he was screwed. Obviously, on Dynamite in that Ladders of Hell match, you had Big Bill carry Chris Jericho to the top of that ladder for him to retrieve that title. And it's just all bad. It's just all bad. I don't know how long Ring of Honor, or well, should I say, Tony Khan had the title on Chris Jericho, but it shouldn't be that long. It should not be that long because right now, and I hate it, and I'm a huge wrestling, I'm an attitude era kind of guy in WWF. It's just right now, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't belong, and when you're a wrestling fan, when you see things like that, you're kind of like, why? But you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, maybe that's a big ass maybe. Maybe there's some thought behind it. Maybe there's some, reason. Maybe there's a bigger storyline that maybe I'm not, able to wrap my head around because maybe I'm a little emotional because I've become a huge fan of Mark Briscoe, and I'm kind of like, man, this is kind of stupid. But at the end of the day, you saw Tomohiro Ishii, pin Chris Jericho. And I don't know, it was kind of crazy. In our promo, you saw John Moxley talking to the camera, talking about, Wheeler Yuta, talking about AEW as a whole, all the young stars as well as the old stars. He said, and I quote, stop playing at the thing stop playing at the thing that you might think that you take seriously. Something that obviously is a lot of things that maybe some people do in wrestling, some people do in like a personal daily life, like where there's somebody that's actually working hard, busting their ass, and then you kind of have this, what John Moxley is saying. What he's saying in that promo is that you have a whole bunch of pretenders on AEW that don't really share the same passion that he does, and by that means that's the reason why he keeps attacking people. That's the reason why he feels like he has to kind of weed out the naysayers, has to weed out the pretenders, so to speak. And it's just it's awesome. It's awesome. Who in the world is better at John Moxley than in-ring wrestling styles, promos? He's the best. I feel like right now in terms of professional wrestling, he is the best. And I'm happy to say that he is the best because he is the best. Next, we have Adam Cole defeated Malachi Black. I definitely love 1,010% that you still have that boom or that Adam Cole, baby. I love that from WWE. I know that that's where it originated from. But you couldn't have him lose that. That's kind of something that kind of that's in his bag of tricks. That's something that he performs that so he's able to kind of get the wrestling universe on his side. I thought that was pretty badass. It was a great match. It was all in all a great match. I love matches that end with hugs between professional wrestlers because at the end of the day, you kind of shake each other's hands. You're like, this is respect. You beat the hell out of me, I beat the crap out of you, but at the end of the day, this is what happened. You were the better man at this day and age. And I feel like it was great. Malachi Black, I don't know his future with AEW, but there's been speculations that he's going to go back to WWE, that he is going to become a free agent, but obviously time will only tell. Also, once when you were kind of hearing Adam Cole at the end of he was having his story time moment. I don't understand why you had Adam Cole going out there talking like this was like his, kind of like talking like was his retirement tour. Like I was kind of like, okay, where's this guy going with this? And then he was talking about MJF. MJF was talking about, he was talking on the phone. You're gonna have, MJF with Roderick Strong and Adam Cole in their triple threat match. I'm not too sure if something's gonna come out of that. Just based on my knowledge of professional wrestling, maybe you had Roderick Strong and the Undisputed Kingdom ever since you saw Adam Cole being absent from AEW. Maybe they found a leader within MJF, and they're like, you were gone for so long, and now we're gonna help this guy win, and that's basically how he went. Next, we had Switchblade Jay White in a promo. He was attacked by not Adam Page, yeah, Adam Page. Chris Statlander seems confident in a promo. She was, ran over by Mercedes Moné. Thought that was kind of crazy. Christian Cage approves Kip Sabian, addresses Hook, being like, nobody cares if Taz was alive. I wish your father was dead. Wishing for more sons. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. It was clear at the end of the episode you saw it was MJF who called the Don Callis family. Jamie Hayter defeated Penelope Cruz in a less than 5 minute match, which was kind of bad. Mina Shirakawa is going to be at Dynamite. Konosuke Takeshita teaming up with Kyle Fletcher of the Don Callis family, lost against Ricochet and his mystery tag team partner, Powerhouse Hobbs. Mark Davis got involved. Then you saw Lance Archer and Brian Cage. Will Ospreay came out, of course, to everybody's chagrin, to a total surprise. I thought that was pretty badass. Out of the Wednesday battle, we saw WWE have a viewer of 619,000 with the demographic of, the 18 and 40 to 49 was, 0.17 to AEW's Dynamite, 523,000 to demographic or whatever you call it, 18 to 49 of 0.16. Honestly, that's not bad. That's not much of a discrepancy. I feel like AEW shouldn't really, pull their head low. But that's actually pretty impressive. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about Ring of Honor and TNA when we come back. So hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you with the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflecting on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE NXT review. We had our AEW Dynamite review as well. And now, without further ado, we're going to talk about some TNA and some Ring of Honor. So, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Can't wait. It was a great. I heard it was a great show. I did a little bit of research on it, so let's go and talk about some TNA. Obviously, we are live tonight, November 7th of 2024. Last week on Impact, you saw Danny Luna square off against Ash by Elegance, but Heather by Elegance quickly intervened, costing Luna the match. So, basically, heading toward a knockouts championship match between Heather and Ash by Elegance. So that's not really much of a surprise. You saw in a thrilling battle of the TNA Knockout Championship at Bound for Glory, Master Slamovich defeated the Juggernaut Jordan Grace to become the new champion. Now the former rivals will team up against Ashley Edwards and Tasha Steelz in a must-see tag team match. Can Grace and Slamovich work together after their brutal showdown? So let's not miss it. Tensions rose last week when Moose interrupted Mike Bailey while he was consoling Trent Seven. With his sights set on Bailey's X Division Championship, Moose now challenges him on Impact, promising high stakes clash for that title. And I hate it. This is awful. This is terrible booking right off the bat. I don't think this is really good. I don't think this is going to prove any kind of dividends in terms of the story or the character that is Moose or Mike Bailey. So I don't like it. I hate it. I feel like Moose should be more of a heavyweight title contender. That's like somebody Mike Tyson going down to the boxing rings to fight like a light heavyweight. Like, those things don't really, it doesn't happen. And, once when you kind of confuse those storylines between each other, it doesn't really work out. So obviously, I hope that TNA does not put the X Division Championship on Moose. I feel like that would be more detrimental to the brand more than like a positive. Next, after a tough loss at Bound for Glory for the world title implications, Nick Nemeth revealed that he wanted to give Joe Henry a title rematch, but Santino shut it down. This led Nemeth and Hardy teaming up in the main event on Impact against the System, but the miscommunication saw Henry accidentally clothesline Nemeth, costing them the match. Tensions boiled over backstage with Ryan with Ryan Nemeth blaming Hardy for the loss. What will Joe Henry have to say about all that? We're going to find out tonight. And then, of course, we're going to have Wendy Chu from NXT, and Rosemary. Rosemary shocked the world at Bound for Glory by turning on her tag partner, NXT's Wendy Chu. Now they clash at No Rules, no DQ match at TNA Impact. And this chaotic showdown should be pretty badass. I can't wait to see what these girls have have in store for each other. All right, next we have Ring of Honor. It's Thursday night. You know what that means. Ring of Honor Club 89 is happening in your vicinity. We're going to see the premier athlete, Josh Woods, take on AR Fox in a match tonight. Can't wait to see that. Next, we're going to see the conglomerations, Tomohiro Ishii and Aaron Solo going one-on-one. That should be a good one as well. The Stone Pitbull. I love Tomohiro Ishii. I feel like he's great. I ultimately feel like he's he's going to be one of the main future superstars in terms of Tony Khan's, promotion from, you have him, kicking ass on AEW, and then you're going to have him on New Japan Professional Wrestling. I feel like it's, it's like a match made in heaven. Diamante taking on Rachel Ellinger. Rachel Ellinger has been, without a doubt, she's been impressive. She's been very, very impressive. She hasn't really had that spark that a lot of these young women superstar, they kind of have. She's been back and forth in terms of winning, but with the win, she can turn it all around. And with the, fighting somebody like Diamante, could be pretty badass. We have a one-on-one Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion Sammy Guevara taking on Preston Vance. We also have not the Fallen Goddess. We have the wrestler Katsuyori Shibata taking on the Butcher. Should be interesting to find out what's going on with this Shane Taylor's promotions. The Righteous, Dutch, and Vincent. And we're going to have the Shane Taylor promotions. They own the Infantry, Charlie Bravo, and Captain Sean Dean. We're going to have the Spanish Announce Project, Angelico and Serpentico. EJ Nduku and Lee Johnson's going to be in action. Legit, Layla Hirsch will return. Patriarchy's Nick Wayne will be in action. Obviously, a lot of action surrounding TNA. A lot of action surrounding Ring of Honor. So, hey, do not miss any of it on this beautiful, amazing Thursday night. So hey, Yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into our next segment. We're gonna go ahead and talk about Roxanne Perez. Sorry, excuse me, Roxanne Perez. Is she the future in WWE NXT? Possibility. We're gonna dive on into it when we come back. So hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez here, and we're going to jump on into our fourth segment. Roxanne Perez, is she the future of WWE NXT? Damn near might as well be because she's, been absolutely impressive, 1,010%. This is her second reign as the WWE NXT Women's Championship holder. She's been, she's had matches on Friday Night SmackDown, on Monday Night Raw, multiple appearances in the Royal Rumble 2 times, in the Women's Royal Rumble. So I thought that was pretty badass. Sports Illustrated Rich Orchino, basically had an interview with her, asking if about a call up. She basically said that if she got called up, she would obviously be absolutely extended. She would be absolutely excited to find out she got called up by WWE, and she thought a main roster call up is what she's been hoping for her whole entire life, which is kind of cool. I love that. She says right now she has her baby. She has when by her baby she means by the NXT Women's World Heavyweight Championship. So she's been working closely with CM Punk. She's been a fan of CM Punk's fiance and wife AJ Lee. She's a 22-year-old from Texas. Her childhood dream. She wanted to be a wrestling star, and she made it basically into reality, which is exactly what that's what's kind of cool. I feel like that's the reason why a lot of fans connect. I feel like that's a lot of a lot of the reasons why a lot of fans love Javon Evans as well as Roxanne Perez, because they kind of have that, like, you know what? I'm just like you guys. Like, you guys are sitting in the stands right now, being like, looking at that, and they're like, damn, that's so freaking cool. With their entrance music, with the pyro, and it's just something that's just completely out of this world that most of the time you don't really kind of take into consideration in terms of watching this. But overall, it's pretty badass. I definitely love Roxanne Perez's view in terms of that. She said, I started watching wrestling when I was 10 years old, kind of mimicking the styles of The Undertaker, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, sorry, Randy Orton, and CM Punk. She was a huge CM Punk fan. Huge influence on her, younger wrestling style, which you can kind of see within her promos. Like, sometimes she goes out there and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna say shit. Sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna say stuff now and kind of respond to it later. And it's been it's been great. It's been golden, and that's something that's been going down, and it's been good for Roxanne Perez. CM Punk has been obviously a huge influence in terms of these younger wrestling talents. A lot of people think that CM Punk should hang up his boots. Right now at this point, at his age, and his time with AEW and how he got, how he's injured often. I'm kind of on that, back and forth fence as well. But he's just so much of a huge influence. This guy he disappeared off professional wrestling for the longest time, but then every single event, Raw, SmackDown, PLE, Backlash, No Mercy, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, it doesn't matter which PLE it was, you would hear somebody chant CM Punk. That just proves how much of an influence that he had in terms of in the world of professional wrestling. And that's just something that Roxanne Perez was kind of like, you know what? I'm going to soak that up. I'm going to make it happen. And I think that's, totally dope. And I feel like that's great. So, definitely love that. Definitely love that Roxanne Perez is still kicking ass, taking names. The world of wrestling is obviously, all ears, all eyes, on the prodigy. I feel like she is the future of NXT. She's the future of SmackDown. She's the future of Monday Night Raw whenever they decide to kind of promote her. Or, to be honest, I feel like on NXT, they're dying to be their own entity. They need that one woman superstar to kind of have that kind of have that Charlotte Flair-esque kind of ratings, kind of sucker kind of thing. Like you suck all these fans into this wrestling promotion. And she's been great. She's been great, 1,010%. Definitely love Roxanne Perez. Definitely love the way that she's wrestling. Definitely respect, and I believe that she's going to be the future of wrestling. She's obviously November 5th. It's her birthday. Happy birthday. Hope you had a great, I think she's 22? No, 23. Maybe she might be 23. So, obviously, happy birthday. Hope you have a great birthday. Hope you have a blessed birthday with you, your families, your loved ones, and fans. You definitely deserve it. You champ, the future of WWE. Don't you ever forget. I'm just kidding. Like she's actually watching this. That would be pretty badass if she was. But, moving on. You've seen a lot of stars from NXT that got called up that wasn't necessarily, that was kind of taken care of. That's not going to be the case with Roxanne Perez. Obviously, it's just the prodigy interested in acting. She's interested in acting, and in terms of professional wrestling, you have to kind of have that kayfabe. Yeah, that kayfabe. It's not acting. It's not like these wrestlers are not athletes. They're athletes. They're performers. They're entertainers. It's staged. It's scripted. Yeah, it's choreographed. Yeah, but at the same time, these guys put their bodies through excruciating pain every night out. It's just, for somebody to kind of come out and be like, "Oh, wrestling is fake. You guys are fake superstars. You guys don't know anything about combat sports." People like that. Shove it, dude. Shove it, man. Did you suck? Because at the end of the day, these people, they have about like 10 to 25 surgeries when their career ends because you're constantly putting your body on the line to entertain one group of people. You, the viewers, the audience, people who are putting in those ticket stubs, buying StubHub, Vivid Seats, Ticketmaster, wherever the hell, you're buying your tickets. That's where it's going. And these wrestlers are to be respected. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you don't go to the movie theater and watch, Chris Evans be Captain America, and then you're complaining like, "Hey, you're not really Captain America. That shield you have is, dude, that's not vibranium, dude. That's a lie. You're a liar. You're a phony. You're a big fat phony." No one's gonna say that ever. And the fact that people feel like they have the confidence to walk up to professional wrestlers and be like, "You're a phony," it's absolutely unforgivable. It's terrible. It's something that should not be ever, branded on this earth. But, obviously, it happens. It happens and it sucks because, a lot of people don't respect professional wrestling. Obviously, I was a fan from a very young age. And, how I was kind of, I loved and I grew to become a professional wrestling fan. And ever since that, my life has been richer ever since. So definitely love that. As of Roxanne Perez being an actor or an actress, sorry, excuse me, she could definitely be an actress. Oh my God, she can. She's so like on the mic. She's amazing. Literally one of the best to ever do it. And I'm not trying to, toot her own horn because I'm trying to, make this segment on my show pop. Overall, I feel like she is great. I feel like she is great. I've never seen an NXT champion, women's champion, or damn, even like men's champion. There's been a couple of men's champions that's been like, damn, those guys are freaking badasses. But in the terms of women's champions, your Roxanne Perez is up there. She's up there. She's definitely been one of the favorites, one of the fan favorites. I'm a huge fan of Roxanne Perez, gotta be honest. Maybe that's my biases be like, man, this girl's badass as hell. She reminds me of like, that cutting edge, like that CM Punk, she's like her idol. She reminds me of like a CM Punk. She reminds me of like an AJ Lee mixed together. And when you have that, that morphing, not morphing, that polymerization put together to become a WWE superstar, and she's done it so freaking well, and it's so awesome. It's just that's just awesome. And her name's actually Carla Gonzalez from Laredo, Texas. Hispanic descent. Her Puerto Rican. She had a Puerto Rican father. You saw her, defeat Mayuko Sotomayor for the at NXT Roadblock, and then obviously after the match, you saw her collapse. Battling depression and anxiety, and in terms of that, obviously, God bless you, Roxanne Perez. Hope you were going through, you know, uh, you know, I don't want to say therapy because I'm gonna be like, oh, you should go to therapy. Because I feel like anybody in terms of depression and anxiety, sometimes you kind of just need to find something that works with you. Like you need to find your own stride. You need to find your own groove. You don't necessarily have to go to a shrink. You don't have to go to a psychologist or anything like that. At the end of the day, you just have to find something that works for you that makes you feel calm, makes you feel at ease with yourself. Because sometimes I gotta be honest, I suffer from anxiety and depression as well. And, like, sometimes it could just get so on you that you're you don't know what to do. Your heart's beating out of nowhere, 1,010%. You feel like in your brain something's wrong, but at the end of the day, you're just, I just took a piss in the garage. I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. No, but sometimes, like, you just randomly, you get, your heart starts racing for no reason. You start feeling like anxious out of nowhere, and you start looking for these signs. You're like, what? Like, what's causing this? Why is this happening to me? But in terms of we're humans. At the end of the day, we're humans. We're human beings. This is what happens. Obviously, like we all have our own, niche. Doesn't necessarily mean that you should judge people. Doesn't necessarily mean that you should be like, oh, because you have a stable, life situation. You've been financially stable with the job. You have your parents supporting you this whole entire time. What do you have depression or anxiety about, dude? Like at the end of the day, everybody's different. Like it could be something personal. It could be something like, an intimate relationship. It could be something to do with your job. It could be something to do with, something inside your own head. And that's something I feel like a lot of people actually do not consider once when, I had somebody actually come up to me, and I'll keep it brief. They come up to me and they look me dead in the eye and they're like, hey, depression does not exist. Depression does not exist. So whatever you're dealing in terms of depression, it's a lie. It's a facade. All these feelings that you're feeling is just because you're trying to feel sorry for yourself. And I gotta be honest, I was so upset. I was so pissed off. I wanted to punch this guy in the face, but I was like, you know what? They've never endured it. Some people don't understand mental or psychological disabilities. Well, I don't want to call it disability. I don't want to say that. Sorry, excuse me. Mental, psychological, disorders. Maybe that's the right word, disorders. To the point where, like, it's just, it just sucks. And you're like trying to get them to be like, sometimes you kind of have to be empathetic. You have to put yourself into some other person's shoes before, deciding to kind of come up on a stance or judging somebody. But, I don't know. Just all in all, love Roxanne Perez. Love the fact that she's overcome so much in her career to become the best that WWE has to offer. NXT, SmackDown, or Raw would be absolutely amazing. Absolutely lucky to have somebody like that. And, I'm going to continue to watch NXT because this woman is, so amazing. I definitely love the fact that, she kind of has that in your face kind of mentality. All right, guys. So, hey, we're going to talk about our fifth and final segment, Finn Balor's WWE 10-year anniversary. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here. So don't go anywhere. right, welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Let's all go ahead and reflect on what we talked about right quick at our WWE NXT review, AEW Dynamite review. We talked about TNA and Ring of Honor. We talked about Roxanne Perez. And now we're going to talk about Finn Balor, his WWE 10-year anniversary. And I got to be honest, I'm becoming a huge hit in New Japan Professional Wrestling. Obviously, he was a huge reason why you kind of have that Bullet Club thing going on right now. That you saw him, it was the Raw. I think it was the 20th or 30th. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. Anniversary was, we had Kevin Nash, the NWO members, D-Generation X, and you had that Too Sweet kind of sign right there. Finn Balor is literally eons and literally ages, literally levels above the Judgment Day. It makes no sense for this guy to be with a faction with these losers. And I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to be an arsehole. Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, they're good. They're all right. Carlito coming back for his, his second or third stance with WWE. It's just not working. He said 10 years. And posting social media, Finn Balor took to social media. The 43-year-old went on to social media being like, you know what? I got more left in the tank. A lot of WWE, storylines and speculations behind many news medias like Cage Side Seats, Inside the Ropes, Ringside News, think that Finn Balor might turn into a babyface. It's possible. I could definitely deal with that. Maybe, along the line, I feel like his feud with Damian Priest needs to be done. It's over. Garbage, gone. Bye. See you later, Charlie. See ya. But you never have to kind of push something that's not really working. You're giving a lot of these low mid-carders like Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, Carlito, this chance to be a part of the Raw storyline because of Finn Balor. If Finn Balor was not included with the Judgment Day from the get-go, once when Damian Priest left the Judgment Day, this faction would be gone. It'd be gone 1,010%, and that's the cold hard truth. These superstars can't really hold their own in terms of trying to have the fans pay attention to your promos, have the fans pay attention to your matches. You have Carlito, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio becoming the Mean Street Posse of 2024. Yes, I said it. Yeah, I'm not ever gonna back down. I never back down. I never back down. I'm just kidding. No. But without Finn Balor, they're gone. They're dead. Without Damian Priest, they were like, hey, we have a chance with Finn. But right now, it doesn't really make sense. The War Raiders are on their way to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship away from JD McDonough and Finn Balor. And at this point, it just seems fitting. It seems fitting. Heading into this new day and age of, this post WWE Raw into the Netflix era, something's got to give. Something's got to give. Does Finn Balor make a clean move, become this new babyface of SmackDown? Yeah, I can see it. It can happen. Cody Rhodes really doesn't have anybody else to kind of challenge him. He defeated Kevin Owens, maybe out of respect. He gives Randy Orton the WWE Undisputed title shot. That could happen. Cody Rhodes has nothing to do with the bloodline right now, and they're going to keep it that way until WrestleMania 41. But, Finn Balor right now, throughout his whole career, first and foremost, he kind of sucks because obviously he has overcome adversity. Obviously, he was the first ever WWE Universal Champion, defeating Seth Rollins, but in the match, hurting his shoulder. And then, he relinquished the championship, and then he rehabbed his injury, came back. Vince McMahon was like, no, Finn Balor, who, what, Finn Balor, this and that and the other. My son-in-law Triple H is the head of NXT. Like, he knows talent, but he wanted to push Finn Balor, and I don't want to push Finn Balor. No, sorry. And it was just stupid. It was terrible. Finn Balor should have been pushed the moment he came back from an injury. But it's like, yeah, let's put the belt on Seth Rollins. Why not? Screw it. Let's do it. Let's put it back on Seth Rollins. Let's have Brock Lesnar come back. Brock Lesnar. Let's have Goldberg win the championship, the Universal Championship against Kevin Owens. Woo, that's awesome. Yes. It was garbage. It was terrible. Finn Balor has suffered from this from the get go, and it sucks because he's a viable talent. He's a talented superstar. He might be a little low. He might be a little, you know, on the short side. I'm not trying to be hater because I'm short. I'm 5'4", 5'5", 5'6" on a good day when I wear my high heels. I'm just kidding. No, but just to kind of quit on some guy like that, like the fans loved him. The fans absolutely loved the crap out of him. And, Vince McMahon was like this close. He was like this close to be like, hey, you know what? Finn Balor who? Finn Balor who? And Triple H was like, okay, yeah, whoa, 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 calm down. This is my guy. I love and respect Finn Balor. Let him come back to NXT to find his identity. And he did. He came back. He found his, Prince, the D'Von and, you know, everything that kind of came along with it. With Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows and stuff like that. Like and then he made it back to the main roster, and Triple H was like, "Oh, I got this and that and the other plans for Finn Balor." And at the time when he came back in the early 2023, later 2022, Vince McMahon was like, "You know what? Oh, I would love to see this guy come together with Damian Priest and have this Judgment Day." It's just come on, man. Like, really? Obviously, within the latest years of Vince McMahon, he might be delirious, maybe suffering from dementia. I don't know. Not trying to hate on that. Not trying to hate on that. But it's just, I feel like Finn Balor, like the talents from NXT, like Aleister Black, Keith Lee, Ember Moon. He suffered the consequences, man. He suffered the consequences. And it sucks. I feel like Finn Balor, he's been with WWE for 10 years. I feel like within this 10 years, he should have been champion so many times over. Like if you never wanted him to become a champion, why did you put him in that situation in the first place? It was kind of like a tease, kind of like okay, hey, maybe we can do this, maybe we can kind of get away with this. And then you had Finn Balor as the Demon King, which is loved, absolutely loved by the wrestling universe, and you're not going to do anything about it? Like, why? Like, why don't you go out there and give Finn Balor a second chance? Why would you want to put a title on like somebody like? I feel like Finn Balor can defeat somebody like Gunther, but if you put the title on somebody like Brock Lesnar or on somebody like some big galoof, like what I mean, like somebody was like, all right, wait, I just want somebody with the, you kind of sacrifice star power for storylines for wrestlers that could definitely put on PLEs that make sense. Because you did have Brock Lesnar go against people like AJ Styles, you had him go against people like Finn Balor, and it was it was entertaining. But at the end of the day, the WWE universe knew exactly what was going to happen. Brock Lesnar was going to win. And from the get-go, you were kind of like, "Oh, this is cool. I can't wait to find out how they kind of make this match interesting." Oh, cool. Styles Clash. Oh, how's this gonna? Oh, no. There you go. Brock. Oh, Brock. Oh, okay. Brock Lesnar retains. He's 500 plus days as a Universal Champion, and it's just all in all, I feel like Finn Balor, kind of like Ricochet in terms of the WWE, it's been wasted. It's been wasted. Sucks. I feel like he deserves more. Will he get more under this Triple H Paul Levesque era? I definitely hope so. But this Judgment Day thing, it's not working out. It's not working out. Something that should be put to bed probably like 6 months ago. Just kidding. No, but like with the departure of Damian Priest and the former WWE Women's World Heavyweight Champion Rhea Ripley, at this point, it doesn't really make sense. If Finn Balor is heading toward a babyface, so be it. If he's, kind of come along the ways of Damian Priest looking at him and be like, you know what, Priest, guess what, dude? I made a mistake. I thought that this is what should have happened to have a successful faction in WWE, trying to force this family that I thought was the Judgment Day. And it just didn't work out. Just didn't work out, mate. It's not working out. I'm just kidding. Terrible accent. Sorry, excuse me. Not trying to disrespect anybody from the Scottish or Ireland area. That was just my, that was just my take. All right, guys. So, hey, thank you so much for tuning in to my show. Hope you guys had a good time. I had a great time. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here, the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. So, follow us on Twitter. And of course, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, follow all the other amazing podcasts that we have on here. Yeah, so LA Knight says, yeah, if you want to if you want to subscribe to a wrestling, network that's going to bring you all the hottest sports content in football, basketball, baseball, you name it, soccer. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and we're going to hear that LA Knight go, yeah, yeah, stay beautiful. But at the end of the night, guess what, guys? Love you.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a